guys, the Black Critic Guy. So by now I'm guessing that most of you have already seen my Legend of Korra Season 4 review. And if you have not seen it yet, I'll have a link to it at the end of this video, but I also would recommend that you go check that review out because I don't talk spoilers in that video whatsoever. Whereas in this video, I will be talking about a few spoilers, one in particular. So if you don't want anything ruined for you for Season 4, I would suggest checking out my non-spoiler review of it. But if you don't care or if you just want to hear my thoughts on this topic, well then welcome, let's get into it then. So, as I was reading the comments in my Legend of Korra Season 4 review, I started to notice a reoccurring trend in the comment section. And that was, Tony, what's your thoughts on the whole Korrasami romance? Why didn't you put it in your review, man? How come you didn't talk about the Korrasami romance? What did you think of it? 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 And funny thing is, I actually was planning to talk about it in my review, but I decided not to for two reasons. First off, I felt like it would be a sort of spoiler to talk about a Korrasami romance vibe in Season 4, especially if you have not seen it or you're just not connected to the internet and haven't been seeing the pictures all over the place. So I just didn't want to talk about that and ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen Season 4 yet, and trust me, there are people like that. And secondly, I felt like this topic itself was just too huge to cover in my review. It would take up way too much time and way too much space. It needs its own video, and that's why I'm dedicating this entire video to the whole Korrasami romance issue. So, before I get into like the crux of the whole thing, I guess I should address my thoughts, just my pure thoughts about whether or not I feel like this is a romance or not. And I see where people are coming from when they say it feels like a romance. You know, there are some like blurred lines in my opinion. I feel like it could go either way. But for me, I didn't feel a romance vibe from this relationship. I felt the complete opposite. I felt a strong friendship vibe from this relationship. And of course, I will explain my reasonings as to why I feel this way. But again, I could see what people are saying and I could see where people are coming from. And if this was truly the direction that the creators wanted to take with this relationship, more to them. It's really good to see a positive romantic relationship of a homosexual nature presented in a TV show, much less a children's TV show, and done so nicely. But again, I just don't feel like that was the case. I felt like when the creators said that, yeah, it was canon, it was more or less to pique people's interest to go see The Legend of Korra. I mean, come on, think of it from their perspective. Their series is only online and only available to people if they go online and watch it. So they gotta get some traction. What's the best way to get traction? You gotta get headlines. How do you get headlines? You gotta do something really impressive or really out of the norm. This is something that would get you headlines, and sure enough, the internet blew up about it and people are going to see Legend of Korra. So, you see how it works now? But if this, I felt like if it was really what they were going for, they didn't even need to make it feel like it was for publicity's sake. It just felt like it was for publicity's sake. But if people feel like it is a romantic relationship, I'm not gonna say no to them. I would say I see where you're coming from and I see your points, but for me, I didn't feel a romantic relationship. I felt a really strong friendship from this whole thing. And now I'm going to go into my reasons why I felt like this. With the major points in Season 4 that people address as signs of a growing romantic vibe between the two. The first one is in Episode 2 of Season 4, Korra Alone. In that episode, this is the episode where Korra is kind of rehabilitating because she had the whole poison thing and she's back at the Southern Water Tribe, and she's reading the letters from her friends. The first one she reads is from Asami, the second one is from Mako, and I believe the last one is from Bolin. Now, a lot of people brought up the fact that, you know, Korra only wrote to Asami. Out of every one of her friends, she only wrote to Asami, and they're like, oh, that's because she just really likes her, that's why she wrote to her. Wrong. Here's why I think Korra wrote to only Asami. Think of it through this. Throughout the entire series, Korra has never truly had a friend that was a girl. Like, even when she was growing up, she was always referred to as a tomboy, and she always hung out with guys. She connected well with other guys, and she was kind of like a brute in that way. But she never really had a girlfriend, a friend that was just a girl that she could just empathize with and connect with on just a real, like a solid basis. Asami was the first friend that was a girl that Korra had ever had that's in her age range. Because I know a lot of you are going to say, well, wait a minute, she had Jinora, she could connect with Jinora. But Jinora was a kid when they built that friendship, you know? She's still really young and cannot really relate to the issues of a teenage girl, especially the Avatar. So, in that, I feel like Korra really could connect more with Asami because they're on the same level. They're both teenage girls and they both kind of can connect that way. More so than if she went to Mako or Bolin. And I feel like the reason she didn't write to both Mako and Bolin is, first off, she dated Mako, and if she were to write to him only, or to write to him, he might read it the wrong way, or he might act overprotective or something. He might overreact, basically. As for Bolin, let's be honest. I like Bolin and all, but the guy is a class clown. I mean, he doesn't really take a lot of situations seriously. He's kind of like he's like the Sokka of the series, but even Sokka knew when things got serious, when to tone down. I feel like Bolin, that never really registered for him. So if Korra were to reach out to Bolin, he kind of would treat it in the way that he could handle it, as a, you know, in a humorous fashion. So Asami is the only person that would really, you know, understand what Korra is saying and be real with her, and that's why she wrote to Asami. She just felt really comfortable writing to another girl. I mean, is that really shocking to believe? I mean, girls write to each other all the time, and there are some things that girls feel more comfortable talking with other girls than they do with other guys. That's the case in this scene. So I don't really feel like there's a romantic vibe building here. I feel like people were just reaching for something, like reaching for a romantic vibe, and trust me, you're gonna hear me say reaching a lot in this video. The second thing is when they first meet each other. I believe this is in episode 5, where all of them, well, not all of them, but Mako, Asami, and Korra reunite, and there's the scene where Asami addresses Korra's hair, and she's like, oh, I like the new hairstyle, and then you see Korra touch it, and she's like blushing like, oh, thanks. Now, a lot of people felt like, oh my god, she's like embarrassed, like she's really happy that she was complimented by Asami of all people. But I really felt like, again, this is people reaching for something that's not truly there. I have complimented many girls in my life, and all of them reacted the same way that Korra reacted when, you know, in that episode. Blushed and said, oh, thanks, that's so sweet. And I just felt like it was just a nice compliment. She just complimented Korra about her nice hair, and she was happy that, you know, someone actually noticed it, because I don't think Mako brought it up at all. So, you know, I feel like there's not really a romance feel to that element. And it was really brief. It's really short. So it's not that big of a deal. Like, oh, she blushed because she was complimented for her hair. She was flattered. She was flattered. Does it really have to be like such a romantic vibe to flatter somebody? It doesn't have to be. Again, people were reaching. It's a compliment, guys. It's a compliment. There's nothing to be seen here. So anyway, moving on from that scene, we got the clip show. Now, this scene, it's a clip show, so I'm a little, about it. I saw it, I watched it, and with this scene, I felt more like, you know, she was comforting Korra in her darkest hour. She was comforting Korra in her time of need. It wasn't because she really liked her, but she just deeply cared about her as a friend, you know? If your friend was in the lowest of lows and just feeling really bad about themselves, I hope to God you find it in yourself to comfort them. Because if Asami went up and heard Korra give that whole spiel and be like, shit happens, whatever, man, see you later. That's so cold, that is so mean. So having Asami be there to comfort Korra, that was nice. It was a nice gesture, and it shows how much their friendship has come along. It's come a long ways, guys. And this whole moment where they're bonding and just opening up to each other, it was nice. It's to establish their friendship once again. And then the last scene that they share with each other is in the last episode at the party. You see them sitting on the staircase and they're talking about all the experiences that they gone through and saying how, you know, we need a vacation, sort of say. And then Korra's like, you know what? Why don't we go on a vacation, just you and me? Let's go on a vacation to the spirit world. And Asami's like, you know what? Let's go do it. And then the final shot, you see them standing near the spirit world portal. They grab each other's hands, they walk into the portal, they look into each other, and it just pans up, and then the end. And then people just lost their shit, like, oh my god, it's real, it's real, hashtag this is real, hashtag Korrasami, it's happening, oh my god, it's so real, oh, I can't believe it. Calm down. Like, really look at that scene one more time. Like, when they're talking to each other, and then Korra invites her on this vacation thing, there's no romantic undertone in this scene. Girls invite their friends to go on vacation with them all the time. This is not a new occurrence. Girls feel more comfortable going on vacation with their girlfriends. It's natural. Why does it have to be a romantic vibe for Korra to ask only Asami, to go on a vacation with her? I mean, again, Mako would just make it awkward and Bolin would just treat the whole event like it's a joke. So it just would make it so tedious. With them, it's just them two. They can be real. They can just have the same experiences. Why does it have to be a romantic relationship? And that scene where they grab each other's hands and they're staring at each other as they're going into the portal, I mean, okay, they grab each other's hands because they're walking into the portal. I mean, girls hold on to each other's hands all the freaking time. I see it at the mall, I see it at school, I see it at clubs. They do this stuff. It's not anything new. Why does it have to be of a romantic vibe? It's not. Again, people are just reaching for stuff. I think the biggest reach was that people were saying how the ending to Korra was similar to the ending of The Last Airbender, where you have Aang and Katara standing outside, they look into each other's eyes and then they kiss, and then the camera pans up, just like how in The Legend of Korra they walk through the portal, they look into each other's eyes and then it pans up. That is such a reach. It's a coincidence, dude. Or maybe they planned it to end similarly like that, but not with a kiss. At the end of the day, honestly, I just feel like people were reaching to see a romantic relationship in The Legend of Korra and to see one that they never seen before. Korra Asami was the closest thing to that. And honestly, my biggest complaint is that why does it have to be a romance? Why can't it just be a really strong friendship? I felt like ever since season 1, they've been trying to build this friendship all the way to the very end, not a romance. I mean, in the first season, they started off as enemies, rivals, because they both like the same dude. And then in season 2, they sort of were getting to know each other a little bit better, but they still were rivals. In season 3, which is the best season in my opinion, you really get to see their relationship flourish. They start to bond with each other, they connect with each other, everything that they spend with each other is just really solid. In the 4th season, the one problem that I had about it too was that we weren't given a lot of Korra Asami moments where they can actually bond and just shoot the shit with each other and just talk about things. I loved those in season 3. We didn't get enough of those in season 4. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say about it that I haven't already said? I feel like people are just reaching for a relationship here in season 4 when they don't need to. Why does the Avatar need to be in a relationship? Why can't the Avatar just have a really good friend that she can depend on, like Asami? Asami is a solid character. She's a great friend to Korra, and I love their friendship. It's strong and dynamic. You don't need to put a label on it. Why do you need to label it as a romantic relationship? It's not necessary. But that's just me. That is just my thoughts on it. If you still feel like that it's a romance, more power to you. That's fine. And if the creators really felt like that's, you know, the relationship, this is gonna be a romantic relationship because they said it's canon, then that's on them. It can be interpreted so many ways, unless truthfully in the show they established that they loved each other. It's really up to interpretation again. And that's really all I gotta say about this whole Korra Asami thing. I don't feel like it's a romance. I can see where people are reaching for a romance, but I personally saw it as a really strong and defined friendship, especially near the end or at the end. It's just a really strong friendship. But I would like to know, do you guys agree with my points? Do you hate that this video was really long? Or do you really feel like that was the direction they were trying to go for all the time? It was supposed to be a romance to start with. Be sure to comment below and let me know. Hopefully, I hope I wasn't rambling too much. I just wanted to express my thoughts clearly and coherently. Hopefully, this all makes sense. But if you'd like to see more awesome videos here on the Black Critic Guy channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. And stay tuned, tomorrow we got our first ever video of Media Warfare with special guest Lutunes. That's right, Lutunes is coming not the Black Critic Guy, coming to Clashing Heads. So if you have not subscribed yet, go check that out. And like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watt II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace YouTube.